Hi Tailoring Talkers, we are back in my wife's IONIQ 6 and we're going to talk about some of the problems with this car. Welcome back everyone. Thank you so much for the response to the first review video that I did on this car. Really appreciate everyone who supported that. Now, some people who commented had expressed concerns with the ICCU issue with this car, so let me explain. If I can work out to put it into drive, off we go. So on the whole, living with the Hyundai IONIQ 6 on a day-to-day basis is relatively trouble-free. It's not the most exciting car in the world, but then I don't think it was ever designed to be. It's a streamliner, which means it glides along the road. It's the most comfortable car I've ever sat in, both as a driver and as a passenger, with the exception of the Rolls-Royce Ghost and the Rolls-Royce Spectre. But then we are talking some £300,000 in price difference between the two, and I'm certainly not at Rolls-Royce money yet. But as a daily driver, it does just about everything you want it to do. It's a pleasure to drive, it's quiet, it's comfortable, as I mentioned before, it's relatively efficient. I mean, we get generally around about 200 miles out of a full tank or charge, which for the type of driving that my wife does, which is mainly in town with maybe 3 or 4 30 to 50 mile round motorway trips a month, is absolutely plenty. And as I may have said at the top of this, and now I can't remember, and that's the trouble when you're trying to review and drive at the same time, it has been relatively trouble-free, but when there is a problem, and we have had one major problem, it really makes you question everything about EV ownership, because when things go wrong, boy, do they go wrong. A few weeks ago, my wife had a red hazard warning come up on the dash, and it was warning her about imminent power failure and that she should check the battery. Now, my wife looked at the battery, it's charged to nearly 100%. Why should that be a problem? But the main battery in the car isn't the main battery. It's one of 2 batteries that you have in an EV. Now, I did not know this, and regular viewers of the channel will know that generally I don't give 2 hoots about EVs. Yes, we happen to own one. I don't drive it much. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a big mobile phone on wheels. You charge it, you use it. When the battery runs down, you charge it, and so on. So I'd never really got into the more technical aspects of the car. So, this other battery. EVs, or at least the Hyundai IONIQ 6, have 2 batteries. They have your main battery, which is the one that drives the car, and that's that big thing that sits underneath the car and probably runs most of the length of the car. And then you have a 12-volt battery, just like you do in a regular internal combustion engine vehicle. Now, the 12-volt battery is responsible for running your infotainment, your heating, all of these instruments and displays, your mirrors and your windows, the sunroof. The actual big battery is the one that actually drives the car and deals with the motors that turn the wheels. The car has something called an ICCU. I can't remember what it stands for, but I will put that in the screen now for you. But that control unit tells the big battery to charge the 12-volt battery when the 12-volt battery is getting a little bit low. It keeps it topped up and keeps your car working. When the ICCU fails and it's no longer communicating between the two, that can relate in catastrophic power failure, to the point where you could be driving along, you will get a warning, and within a very short space of time your car will just stop dead. And that's what happened to my wife. The warning came up, she was nearly home, and just as she was trying to turn into the driveway, the car stopped dead right in the middle of the road. What happened? Well, we called the RAC, and this was at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. And bear in mind that we live in a residential neighbourhood that has its own WhatsApp group. It's very easy to put the neighbours' backs up, basically. Bad parking, blocking someone's drive, you name it, they'll erupt. And so we couldn't very well leave the car blocking the road. The RAC said it would take about 3 to 4 hours to get someone out. So we put a message on our local neighbourhood group, and they were reasonably understanding. And then the RAC, as we looked on the little tracker that they have, the time kept extending. So it kind of went from 4 hours to 6 hours to 9 hours. And again, this is at lunchtime on a Sunday. By the end of it, they were estimating they wouldn't get to us till midnight, which was completely unacceptable. And they did not care about the situation with the whole car blocking the road stuff. I remembered seeing an email from Hyundai about their emergency assist. We called their number. They sent the AA out, and the good thing is they got to us within about an hour and a half. They were very, very quick. The guy from the AA basically, cue my montage of videos with the AA guy. He got here, he checked the car over, he couldn't get it moving. I asked him if there was any way to move the thing in this situation, and he said no. What we will have to do is get a donor battery, and he luckily had one on the van. So he had a donor 12 volt, he swapped out our 12 volt battery for the donor one, and that just about gave us enough to be able to move the car into a position where he could then put it on a tow and then get it away. Now, the next problem came because, being a Sunday, Hyundai do not have any form of service department open on a Sunday. So he called the local dealership, I called the local dealership, explained the situation and said, look, we know that your service department's not there, but we need to get this car to you so that tomorrow when the service guys come back, they can actually sort it out. And the salespeople there, the sales manager, flat refused to take the car. She said, no, I can't. The AA guy was stuck because he said, until they authorize that I can take the car to them, I can't take it. So I had to have a real go at the sales manager, and in the end, long story short, they relented. But let me tell you, it was so stressful. They really were in computer says no mood. In the end, the AA guy took the car back to Hyundai. The next day we called them. They were meant to supply a hire car. That took about 5 days, and that was a nightmare because we'd called the RAC first of all. They initially said that they didn't have to give us a hire car under the terms of the agreement because we'd called the other recovery service first, despite the fact that we had to cancel the RAC and use Hyundai Assist. So it was all with Hyundai. That wasn't great, and that because it meant that my wife had to drive my M2. And that's a whole other story. Anyway, Hyundai then said that they would not be able to even diagnose the car for over a month. So this incident happened around about mid-June, and so they were saying, we're not going to be able to look at your car until... God, the garden centre's busy today. It's the other thing I do like about this car. The boot is so big. I got so much compost and soil bags into it this morning. It was great. So yeah, so they said we can't even diagnose the car for about 6 weeks, which was completely unacceptable. And when I looked online, I saw that there'd been a massive recall of IONIQ 6s and IONIQ 5s, but they'd had a recall of some, I think it's like 300,000 cars. for this ICCU problem. So the car had needed to go in and have the ICCU swapped out as part of this recall. So we knew what the problem was. I mean, the AA guy had diagnosed the problem anyway. And obviously I'd been on forums and so on while we were waiting for recovery, and sort of discovered all this stuff about the car and this inherent fault that they'd shipped with. And they're saying that they couldn't diagnose it for 6 weeks. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous for what is essentially a 45, 50 grand car. And Hyundai trading themselves on the fact that, you know, they provide amazing customer service. Their customer service was amazing when we were buying the car, through the whole, I talked about it in the previous video, through the whole test drive experience and so on. But the aftercare was atrocious. Now, if there are any other Hyundai owners watching this who haven't had the same experience, our dealer is Endeavour Automotive in North London, and they are shocking. Their service department is absolutely disgusting in the way that they treat their customers. Anyway, after a lot of arguing and a lot of to and froing, eventually someone in their service department jumped our car up the queue, and they managed to order the part in, and we got our car back within about 2 weeks. Then we had, you know, problems handing the hire car back. That was an absolute nightmare because Hyundai use an overspill car park, so we were told to drop the rental car back to them. They just went and dumped it in the Tesco's car park next door, so it got a fine. We were then chased for the fine, so we had to go all around the houses. Hyundai head office said it had nothing to do with them. They pushed it back to the dealership. And now eventually they've agreed to pay it. It was just a horrible experience. And when my wife went to pick the car up, you'd think it would have been valeted. The car was absolutely filthy from wherever they'd left it, and they didn't even bother valeting it. Didn't even bother giving it a little clean to hand it back, despite the fact we'd done nothing wrong. The way that she was spoken to, I mean, it was like she'd caused the entire problem, or we'd caused the entire problem, and it was all down to her. Just to make you aware, if you've not had a letter from Hyundai and you've got a 2024-2025 IONIQ 6, you might want to just check that you're not part of this recall, and if you are, get your car booked in. You do not want to get caught out and about and then suddenly have the car fail on you. When that ICCU unit goes, it goes. I can't imagine how dangerous that could be. Imagine if you're on a motorway or on a roundabout or just anywhere on the road. It could be really serious in terms of consequences, even fatal. So there we go. If you've got any questions, then drop them in the comments. I mean, what it has done is it soured our relationship and our thoughts towards Hyundai as a brand. I can't stand it when you have a fantastic experience up to the point you hand your money over, then it all goes downhill from there. They don't care afterwards. It's such a short-termist view, because after 3 or 4 years, we will be wanting to trade this car in and go for something else. My wife really wants to go back to Hyundai because she loves the car. But the truth is, when she's had her time with it, she will probably give it back, and then she will probably go to BMW Park Lane, because we have such a great relationship with the guys and girls there and the management team. We know that they would never not do right by us, and she will probably spend the extra money and go for an i4. Because she wants to stick with electric. I wouldn't have a problem with an i4 actually. We drove one of those and it was fantastic. It's an electric car that feels like a BMW. So yeah, so there we go. That's the IONIQ 6, and that is the major problem that we've had with it. It's such a shame because it is such a lovely car, but it has ruined our relationship and our attitude towards Hyundai as a brand. I really, really thought Hyundai, if anyone from Hyundai is watching this, I thought you were better than the way that you've treated us, and not only us but so many other customers as well. When my wife was waiting at service reception at Endeavour, they were arguing with another poor guy whose car had been in multiple times, and the way they were talking to him was like, you know, he was some crap on the pavement that they just stepped into, and he was so upset. She had a chat with him afterwards, and the guy was beside himself. He'd had so many problems. They weren't getting on top of it. On top of it as well, some of you, we've talked about all the bings and bongs on this bloody car. The speed limit warning thing was taken away. It was brought back in a software update, so you should be able to hold down the mute button on the steering wheel and it turns the speed limit awareness off. Apparently that is a two-stage software update that needs to be done in a certain order. I did tell them about that, and guess what? Either they didn't do it or they did the software update again, but they still did it in the wrong order. So as a result, we still have no way of turning off the speed limit awareness on this stupid car. And I could just take it back, get it booked back in with service and get them to do it again. But the amount of arguing that they do with you, the resistance to look after any problem that you have, I just don't have the time or the energy for it. I really, really don't. I mean, a software update like that, you should be able to do over the air like you can with modern BMWs. You know, my car's had there've been a couple of major software updates to iDrive 8.5. Half the time I don't even know about it because it does it over the air discreetly. I don't know how it works, and that's the way it should be. But not so with Hyundai. So, moral of the story, it's a great car, but check your dealer's customer service ratings and make sure that when things go wrong, that they are going to be there to catch you. Because when you fall with this car, you fall hard. So there we go. Thanks so much for watching. We appreciate every single one of you. We are not motoring experts. We're not experts on anything really, apart from the things that we individually do as our day jobs. But when we do review stuff, we are just being completely honest, transparent. We are just giving you our lay people point of view, which I hope is what most of you want. You don't want all of the jargon and the technical nonsense and so on. You just want to know where your money's going. Is it worth it? What's good? What's bad? What do I need to look out for? What do I need to be aware of? So I hope we've achieved that. And if we have, please give the video a like. Please share it with anyone you know who owns a Hyundai IONIQ 5 or 6. And hit that subscribe button for more of our magazine style content. Thank you so much. This has been Roberto from the Hyundai IONIQ 6. I'll see you on the next one.